Said, "How are you doing?" He said, "Well, I don't know. I think this medicine might be having a bad effect on me." A few more. There goes that happy ending.
At 92, Willie Nelson finally speaks up about John Denver. Willie Nelson was born Willie Hugh Nelson on April 29, 1933, in Abbott, Texas. Raised by his grandparents during the Great Depression after his parents divorced and left in search of work, young Willie developed a love for music early on. His grandparents were music lovers themselves and encouraged his talent by giving him his first guitar at the age of 6. By the age of 7, he had written his first song, and by 9, he was already performing in local dance halls and honky-tonks alongside his sister, Bobby, who played piano, a partnership that would continue throughout their lives. In his early adult years, Nelson worked a wide range of odd jobs, ranging from disc jockeying and vacuum sales to farming and Bible book sales, while trying to make a name for himself in the fiercely competitive country music scene. He struggled through the 1950s, bouncing between cities like Fort Worth, Portland, and Nashville, always chasing his dream. Although his unique singing voice and unconventional phrasing were initially seen as out of step with the polished Nashville sound, he persisted, and his songwriting began to open doors. Songs like Crazy, made famous by Patsy Cline, Nightlife, and Funny How Time Slips Away, showcased his poetic sensibilities and earned him recognition as a master lyricist. The 1970s marked the beginning of Willie Nelson's rise to superstardom. Frustrated with the constraints of the Nashville recording industry, he moved back to Texas and became a pioneer of the outlaw country movement, which rejected the slick commercial production style of mainstream country in favor of a raw, more personal and rebellious approach. His landmark albums Shotgun Willie, 1973, Red-Headed Stranger, 1975, and Stardust, 1978, solidified his status as both a musical innovator and a cultural maverick. The success of Red-Headed Stranger, featuring the haunting ballad Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, proved that authenticity and storytelling could still sell millions of records and touch hearts across generations. Beyond his music, Willie Nelson became known for his distinctive persona. His long braided hair, bandana, weathered face, and ever-present guitar, Trigger, which itself became a symbol of his grit and style. But it wasn't just the image, it was the man behind it. Willie Nelson embodied the free-spirited, kind-hearted rebel, unafraid to speak out about controversial issues. He has long been a passionate advocate for farmers' rights, marijuana legalization, animal welfare, and environmental sustainability. In 1985, he co-founded Farm Aid with Neil Young and John Mellencamp, a benefit concert that continues to raise millions for struggling American farmers. His collaborative spirit is legendary. Over the decades, Willie Nelson recorded with a stunning variety of artists across genres, from Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard, and Johnny Cash, to Ray Charles, Dolly Parton, Sheryl Crow, Snoop Dogg, and Norah Jones. His supergroup, the Highwaymen, featuring Jennings, Cash, and Chris Christopherson, became a beacon of camaraderie and musical excellence. His ability to transcend genre boundaries while maintaining his core identity is a testament to his universal appeal. Despite personal hardships, including financial troubles, failed marriages, and legal battles with the IRS, Nelson remained unbroken. He never stopped recording, touring, or advocating for what he believed in. Even into his 80s and 90s, he released new music, published memoirs, and continued performing live with a tireless work ethic that defies age. His voice, weathered but warm, remains instantly recognizable, as does his philosophical, soulful approach to music and life. Willie Nelson is not merely a country music star. He is a national treasure, a poet, a storyteller, and a symbol of resilience. His contributions to music and society are incalculable. With a discography that spans over 100 albums and a legacy that has influenced countless artists, he has earned every accolade, from Grammy Awards to Kennedy Center honors and induction into the Country Music Hall of Fame. More than that, he has earned the enduring love and respect of fans worldwide. Even after turning 80, Willie Nelson has continued to defy expectations and push the boundaries of what it means to be a working musician at an advanced age. His energy, creativity, and passion for music have remained remarkably strong, serving as an inspiration to younger generations of artists and fans alike. In 2014, just shy of his 81st birthday, Nelson released a critically acclaimed studio album titled Band of Brothers. This record marked a significant milestone in his career, not only because of his age, but also because it was his first album in several years to feature mostly new, original material written by Nelson himself. The album showcased a blend of classic country sounds with his distinctive lyrical depth and storytelling, earning praise for its raw honesty and mature reflection. It resonated strongly with both longtime fans and critics, who lauded it as a return to form for the legendary singer-songwriter. Even more impressively, Band of Brothers debuted at #1 on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart, reaffirming his continued relevance and popularity in the ever-changing world of country music. The album's success proved that age had done nothing to diminish Nelson's talent or his ability to connect with audiences through his signature voice and soulful guitar playing. Beyond music, Willie Nelson has also left an indelible mark on the world of film and television. Over the years, he has transitioned seamlessly from recording studios to film sets, earning a reputation as a charismatic and natural screen presence. He has appeared in a wide variety of film roles that showcase not only his musical legacy, but also his unique charm and wit. One of his most memorable performances was in the 1979 film The Electric Horseman, in which he starred alongside Robert Redford and Jane Fonda. Nelson played a supporting role that blended humor and heart, and he also contributed to the film's soundtrack, further intertwining his musical and cinematic talents. In the 1996 family film Starlight, Nelson charmed audiences with a warm, grandfatherly role that highlighted his gentle demeanor and made him a beloved figure across generations. His comedic timing and laid-back personality also made him a perfect fit for roles in light-hearted films and comedies. In The Dukes of Hazzard, 2005, a film adaptation of the classic TV series, Nelson portrayed Uncle Jesse, a role that allowed him to bring his rustic Texas persona and trademark wit to the big screen. He also made a memorable appearance in Blonde Ambition, 2007, a romantic comedy starring Jessica Simpson, where he played a character that added authenticity and Southern flavor to the story. His ability to poke fun at himself was further displayed in the satirical fashion comedy Zoolander 2, 2016, where he made a cameo appearance that delighted audiences and underscored his enduring cultural relevance. These film roles have helped solidify Willie Nelson as not just a music legend, but also a beloved pop culture icon with a rare cross-generational appeal. His continued activity in both the music and film industries, well into his 80s, is a testament to his enduring passion, resilience, and artistic spirit, a legacy that few can rival. Willie Nelson, the iconic American country music legend whose career has spanned over 6 decades, has led a deeply colorful and eventful personal life, particularly when it comes to his relationships and family. Over the years, he has been married 4 times, each marriage representing a different chapter in his life and reflecting the trials, transitions, and evolving perspectives that paralleled his musical journey. His first marriage was to Martha Matthews in 1952. This union, although lasting a full decade, was fraught with turbulence. Nelson has been candid in his memoirs about the rocky and at times violent nature of the relationship, fueled by his drinking and the instability of his early music career. Together, Willie and Martha had 3 children, Lana, Susie, and Willie Billy Hugh Nelson Jr. Tragically, their son Billy would later die by suicide in 1991, a heartbreaking moment in Willie's life that deeply affected him and which he has reflected on with pain and honesty over the years. Following the dissolution of his first marriage, Willie wed singer Shirley Collie in 1963. Their relationship began as a creative partnership. Shirley was a country singer herself and collaborated with Nelson on music during the early 60s. However, the marriage ended in 1971 after Shirley discovered that Willie had secretly fathered a child with another woman, Connie Kupka, during their marriage. This revelation led to the end of their union and foreshadowed his next relationship. Connie Kupka, the mother of Willie's daughter Paula Carleen Nelson, became his third wife shortly thereafter. They married in 1971 and later had another daughter, Amy Lee Nelson. Connie stood by Nelson during some of his most tumultuous years in the music industry and throughout his battles with the IRS and drug-related issues. Despite their shared history and the birth of two daughters, the marriage ultimately came to an end in 1988. Later that same year, Willie Nelson married Annie D'Angelo, a makeup artist he had met during the filming of the 1986 movie Stagecoach, in which he starred alongside Chris Christopherson and Johnny Cash. Annie brought a sense of balance and calm to Willie's often chaotic world. She has often been described as a grounding presence in his life, helping him adopt a healthier lifestyle, including reducing his consumption of alcohol and meat. Together, they have two sons, Lucas Autry Nelson, who has followed in his father's musical footsteps and achieved acclaim as the frontman of Lucas Nelson and Promise of the Real, and Micah Nelson, an artist and musician in his own right, known for his eclectic and experimental style. Annie and Willie have remained together for over 3 decades, marking his longest-lasting marriage and symbolizing a deep, enduring companionship that has grown stronger with time. In recent years, Willie and Annie have made their home on the Hawaiian island of Maui, where they live in relative seclusion, surrounded by lush tropical scenery, close friends, and family. Their home serves as a peaceful retreat from the demands of fame and touring. It's not just a place of rest, but a symbol of the tranquility he has found in the later years of his life. While some sources may occasionally report her name as Marie, his wife is, in fact, Annie D'Angelo, and the two share a strong, enduring bond built on mutual respect and love. All in all, Willie Nelson has fathered 7 children across these relationships, each representing a unique aspect of his life's tapestry. Despite the ups and downs, the personal losses, and the hard-earned lessons, Nelson has remained deeply devoted to his family, often drawing inspiration from them for his music. His family members, particularly his children, have played crucial roles in his personal and professional life, and many have continued his legacy of creativity and artistic expression. Now well into his 90s, legendary country icon Willie Nelson has lived a life as rich and complex as the American landscape he so often sings about. From outlaw country to gospel and blues, Nelson's career has spanned over 7 decades, and he has crossed paths with some of the most influential figures in music history. Yet, among the constellation of names that have filled his life story, one name that fans have long speculated about, but which Nelson has rarely commented on publicly, is that of fellow singer-songwriter and beloved American folk icon, John Denver. Now, in a rare and heartfelt moment of vulnerability and candor, Willie Nelson, at 92 years old, has finally opened up about his memories, impressions, and lasting thoughts on the late Denver, providing a touching and revelatory look at a friendship the public never fully saw. For years, many fans wondered how Nelson truly felt about Denver. The two artists occupied different yet intersecting corners of American music. Denver, with his clear voice and nature-driven ballads, was seen as a symbol of clean-cut, heartfelt optimism in the 1970s, while Nelson, braided, unfiltered, and deeply rooted in the rougher textures of outlaw country, represented a more rebellious spirit. Despite those surface contrasts, Willie now reveals that he held a deep admiration for John Denver's musical sincerity, lyrical craftsmanship, and unwavering commitment to environmental causes. Nelson describes Denver as a soul that sang from the mountains and meant every word of it. Willie goes on to share that, although they didn't tour together or collaborate as frequently as some might assume, there was always a mutual respect and kinship between them. They often crossed paths at charity concerts and televised specials, especially those in the late 1970s and early 1980s, when both men were advocating for causes that resonated with them, Denver for conservation and wildlife, and Nelson for family farmers and rural communities. Willie now reveals that backstage at one of those events, the two had an in-depth conversation about the pressures of fame and staying authentic in a world of industry expectations. John told me he just wanted to write what he felt and sing it honestly, no matter what New York or LA thought, Nelson recalls. That hit me deep. I respected that. Nelson also confesses that he was deeply affected by Denver's tragic death in 1997, when the singer perished in a plane crash off the coast of California. At the time, Willie remained publicly silent. But in private, he admits he mourned the loss of one of America's gentlest voices. Now reflecting on the decades since, he shares that Denver's music still moves him, especially songs like Take Me Home, Country Roads, and Sunshine on My Shoulders. Willie says, "You can feel the love in those songs. They were never just hits. They were gifts." In his remarks, Nelson also touches on what he sees as Denver's misunderstood legacy. He notes that while John was sometimes dismissed by critics for being too soft or sentimental, the reality was that Denver's strength lay in his sincerity and courage to stay true to his heart. In this business, people try to mold you into something you're not. John never let that happen, Willie says. That takes guts, quiet guts. Willie Nelson, who has spent his own life challenging musical norms and standing firm for the causes he believes in, perhaps sees a bit of himself in Denver's journey. He reflects that, had Denver lived longer, they might have eventually recorded together, perhaps a gentle duet, blending their distinct voices in tribute to the land they both loved. "We were both country boys at heart," Nelson says with a wistful smile. "Different roads, maybe, but the same horizon." In speaking up now, Willie not only pays tribute to a lost friend, but also offers a lesson in appreciation and reconciliation. At 92, with a long life of stories behind him, he reminds us that honoring the people who crossed our path, whether for a moment or a lifetime, is part of what gives meaning to the music and the man behind it. And so, with the sun setting slowly on a remarkable career, Willie Nelson's reflections on John Denver feel like a song in themselves, tender, raw, and full of truth. A song that was perhaps decades in the making, but was always waiting to be sung.